Did you know that most of our dreams have people in them, and one of the most common people to dream about is our mother? In this video, I'll talk about some of the things it can represent when you dream about your mother. Hi, I'm Karen, and I dream a lot, and I like to study and talk about dreams and dream interpretations and do them for people. If you've ever had a dream about your mother, please put it in the comments below. I will also at the end tell you what to do if you don't like the dream that you had. So stay tuned for that. The biggest thing that can happen when we dream about our mother in a dream, the most common meaning for that is that it is representative of our own ability to mother and nurture ourselves. The dream of our mother is actually talking about our inner mother. If you saw my video on what it means when you dream about people, everybody in a dream is an aspect of the dreamer, generally. Not always, but start from that point. What if the person in the dream is actually your inner mother, your inner ability to nurture and take care of yourself or other people? That is one of the most common meanings for dreaming about your mother. What does this look like? This means that your subconscious is telling you, is talking about your ability to nurture either yourself or other people. Now, how do you know if it's yourself or other people? Well, that has to do with what's going on in your waking life. And this matters whether you're a mother or you're not a mother, or no matter what stage you are in motherhood, this is talking about your nurturing qualities. So you could be nurturing people at work, you could be nurturing animals, you could be nurturing other family members, not just your children. You could be, again, nurturing yourself. So when the dream shows up, it's talking about those qualities. Everything else in the dream is going to affect what those qualities, what the message is about those qualities. Do you need to nurture yourself more? Is it talking about worries that you have around the nurturing that you're already doing? Is the dream telling you to back off and not nurture so much? Is the dream saying, please nurture some more? Like, those are other things that come up when you start to interpret your dream, and that's why as a dream interpreter we look at, or I look at, what's going on in your real life and what else is happening in the dream. So it's not just, oh, a mother. But if you were to have a dream and the only thing you remember is my mother was in the dream, okay, so something in there about your nurturing qualities and abilities. Is there something happening in real life where you need to tap into those qualities? That's really the very first thing to look at if you dream about your mother. Let's go a little deeper into the idea of the qualities of the person in the dream being the qualities within you. Not everyone sees their mother as this kind, nurturing person. We like to think that we all have kind, nurturing, beautiful, wonderful mothers. The reality is that our mothers are human, and they often are not as nurturing as we want them to be. So your relationship with your mother in real life can color what it means when your mother shows up in your dream. So if your mother was not nurturing, but was actually very cold and aloof, that is another possibility of what she symbolizes in your dream. But again, you need to look at what's going on in your real life, and you need to look at what's happening in the dream. If you don't feel safe around your mother, then in real life, in the dream, that could be coloring what she represents in your dream. This takes us to the next possible meaning of what it can mean when you dream about your mother, and it can be that you're dreaming about your relationship with her. So in the dream, she is a stand-in for the relationship. This looks like, for example, if you don't live near your mother and she comes for a visit and you are having a great time, but then somehow during your great visit, an intense conversation comes up. Maybe you have a disagreement around something. It's not resolved right away. And then maybe a day or two later, you have a dream in which she shows up in the dream, and there's some conflict or some other symbolism in there that will help you see that, oh, I'm dreaming about the relationship and what we've been talking about in my relationship with my mother, and I'm worried about it. And so she may represent your relationship with her. Let me give another example. I had a client once, and she had a dream that her mother was driving her in a car, and they were driving through a mall, and she was driving very recklessly in the car. And I think there was a point where she drove off the second floor down to the first floor or something. And it was a very upsetting dream for my client. That was a dream about her relationship with her mother in real life. So in that point in her life, she was in conflict with her mother. She did want to kind of break free of some of the opinions and bossiness of her mother in her life. And you could see it in the dream, because when you dream about being in a car, you are actually dreaming about your motivation, or whoever's the person driving the car, their motivation. In this case, she was dreaming that she was a passenger and her mother was driving her life, and she wasn't doing a very good job of it. And she didn't like it. She didn't feel safe. And that's exactly what the dream showed. But it took a while for her to acknowledge that. She didn't really want to acknowledge that when she was awake, but her subconscious knew and wanted her to be able to acknowledge it so she could move forward, so she could make a decision on, was she going to continue to let her mother kind of dictate how she did things, or, influence the decisions that she was making, or was she going to make a conscious decision to say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to listen to what my mom's opinion is about these things I want to do with my life. If you're getting value from this video, please go ahead and click the like button so that more people can find out what it means when they dream about their mother. Thank you. Let's say that in the dream you are talking to your mother and you're just talking. That can also be a representation of unresolved issues between the two of you. So kind of taking the idea of, oh, it's the relationship, and going a little step further, talking to your mother is pretty much, oh, it's not so much my own inner nurturing, but my relationship with my mother. So if you're interacting with your mother, that's more about your communication and interaction and relationship with her. If you are in the dream and your mother just happens to be there, that can be a little bit different. Now, sometimes we dream that someone we love is, we are told that they have died, or we dream that they die, and I have a whole video on what it means when you dream that someone has passed away or that they're dying, and this is a kind of an extension of that. So go ahead and watch that video. But for a mother, it can mean something very specific. And one of the things, it can mean two different things. It can mean that you are feeling that you have neglected yourself. So back to the first thing I talked about, where your mother represents your own inner ability to nurture yourself. That's definitely, if you dream that she's passed away, that is definitely about, oh, I am not able to take care of myself. I have neglected myself. I'm not here for myself. That's the first thing to check. Look at what's going on in real life and how you're feeling, and see if that's the meaning. Because the second thing that can mean, if you dream that your mom has passed away, or that you've been told that she passed away, is that you feel like your real mother in real life is not being there for you. She's not very responsive. She's not responding to you. She's not there for you when you want her to be or need her to be. Then that's also what that could mean if you dream that your mom has passed away. So how do you know? You have to look at what's going on in real life and what's going on in the dream in order to understand, is this about myself, or is this about my relationship to my mother? Now here's a third thing it can mean, and I get this question a lot, is people will dream about something from their past or from when they were younger. And you can tell that it's from the past because of the age of people in the dream, or the people who show up in the dream. And for example, last night I had a dream about my mother, because we all dream about our mothers a lot, or most people dream about mother figures a lot. And in the dream, my mom was driving a car and I was in the back seat. And then other people from my life, they were the age they were when I was a teenager. And so I'm assuming that the dream was telling me about when I was a teenager. And someone else showed up who I haven't seen since I was a teenager. And so I knew that this was talking about a time in my life where, back to the car symbolism, where I was listening to my parents and trying to do what they told me to do. And interestingly, in the dream, I disobeyed, or I did something they said don't do. I did it. I got out of the car. I walked away. I actually walked in front of the car so they could see me, which is not how I was when I was a teenager. If I had done that as a teenager, I would have very quietly snuck out of the car so nobody could see me. But in this dream, I was very no, I'm here. I'm doing something you told me not to do, and I'm okay with it. So that was a really cool dream, because it helped me see that I have kind of made progress from how I used to be as a teenager when I was that age. So in this case, my mom represented me and my relationship to my parents from the past. I know that because there were other people in the dream from that time period, and they were that age at that time period. So that's how I knew. So it does matter what's happening in the dream, what's happening in real life, and how does it all tie together? So talking to a dream interpreter can really help. What if you have a dream that you don't like? Let's go back to the dream from my client where she dreamed that her mother, drove the car off the second story of the mall, which would be scary in real life. And she woke up because she didn't like that. She woke up before they crashed. What you can do when you have a dream that you don't like, there's 3 things you can do. The first is to write it down so you get it out of your head. Write it down in your dream journal, and then it's not rattling around in your head. That's the first thing. The second is to realize that it is symbolic. It's a metaphor. It's a picture for how you are feeling in your waking life. It didn't really happen, even though it felt like it really happened, and it was very scary when you were in the dream, or icky or gross, or you didn't like it. So that's the next thing to do, is to say, okay, I know this is symbolic, and maybe decide I'm going to look it up in dreammoods.com, or I'm going to get on Caryndreams and look for a video about it, so that I can kind of try to understand what the meaning of the dream is trying to tell me. But you don't have to know what the dream means to get past it. So don't get stuck there. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I can't figure out what it means. I'm never going to get past this dream. That's okay. Just knowing that it's symbolic, and you may get the understanding of it later. You don't have to figure it out right away. But it helps to kind of be like, okay, I understand this was not about, I'm going to crash in real life. What was this about? And then the third thing you can do is my favorite thing, and that is to reimagine the dream. So you go into the point where you woke up and you just play it forward. You can do this on your journal. You can get quiet and do this in your imagination. It is helpful to try to get quiet somewhere or go for a walk and imagine it. But if you're super, super busy and you can't, and you just have to go cook breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever, or do the laundry, you can do this in your head while you're doing other things. So don't let that stop you. But what you want to do is play the dream from, near the end, and then to the part where you woke up that was scary. Play it forward and give it a different ending. Give it a closure that feels good. So in the case of my client, whose mother drove the car off the second floor and they were going to crash, she could reimagine that and see that they bounce, or that the car flies instead, or that a superhero comes in and catches the car, or that they land on a net, anything like that. She can, or they land in a bed of flowers. Like, she can reimagine however feels good in her imagination. And what you'll find when you decide that you're going to reimagine a dream is that your subconscious will bring it to you what a good ending is. You don't have to think too hard about it. Just whatever the first thing is that comes to you. You want to avoid making the bad thing disappear, because what that does is that kind of sets up an energy subconsciously of ignoring the thing. And the dream is here to bring it to your attention. So you don't want to, she wouldn't want to have her mother disappear in the dream, because that just pushes away what is being confronted to her to deal with. So instead, they have something else happen to them. So that's the only thing you want to be careful of when you reimagine. She could turn her mother into a puppy. She can turn her mother into something else. But making something disappear is something you want to avoid doing when you reimagine your dreams. Because, again, that just pushes it away. And we don't want to push it further down for it to come back in a scarier nightmare. We want to face it so that we can dissipate that energy and not have another nightmare about it. So try that out. Let me know. If you do try it out, send me a message or comment below and tell me how it felt, what you did, what you thought. If you're interested in finding out more about what people mean in your dreams, go ahead and click the next video. You can follow me over on Instagram at Caryndreams. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can see all the new videos every week. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.